Let's do this. Alright, morning everybody. Texas time, it's still morning, about 10 o'clock. So today we're doing a Berliner Weiss. I'm Lonnie Mac, this is Brutus Ten. So I get a lot of emails, tons of emails wanting to see Brutus in action, maybe some of the particulars. A lot of Brutus Tens out there now. I've got pictures of at least 70 systems out there across the world. And I thank you all very much for building a Brutus Ten. So I hope you have many happy brew days on it. But I thought today I'd do a real quick little recipe, a real easy one in this month's BYO, the Jamel Zainichev. Put in BYO, a very good little Berliner Weiss, very simple little beers, 50%. My recipe's 50% German Pils, 50% wheat, white wheat malt, and that's it. So 13 pounds of malt to do a 10-gallon beer. It's a very light beer, 0.32, 0.31 gravity. But what I'm going to do today is do some little short video clips. Hopefully it'll work out. I'm not a videographer, but let me give you a quick tour. Grab the camera here. I'll get my cameraman out of bed here pretty soon. He can help out. It's not much malt for a 10-gallon beer. That's it. All ground up. I ground it on the barley crusher just a little bit ago. Got everything pretty much ready to go this morning. There's a true kegerator fermenter, not a kegerator. I guess you can serve beer out of it. But that's where I put my fermenter, which is that middle pot there, or any pot really, whichever one I want to use to ferment in, goes in there. Keep it about 68 degrees. So I got everything ready to go this morning. I already got my 4.5 gallons of mash in water, already heated up to 157. And I've got about 8 or 10 gallons of sparge water. I don't really care how much I heat up, as long as I have enough to do what I want to do. And I've got it at 175, ready to go. So the mash temperature is controlled by this probe here, connected to the #1 love controller, which is connected to the hip bone, that ASCO valve back there, which has a standing pilot pretty much lit all day on both of these ASCO valves. This is the HLT burner and the mash tun burner. So this half of the panel controls the mash. This half of the panel controls the HLT. We've got a main power here, and this just turns on the love controller on and off. This just turns the ASCO valve on and off, because sometimes you just want to use the temperature probe without the ASCO valve firing, so you can turn the ASCO valve power off. And this is the #1 pump and #2 pump. So what I'm going to do today is just run you through some short clips and try and knock out a little simple beer, make some small little video, and maybe help some of you along the way that's built Brutuses, maybe having trouble, or just people that want to build a Brutus and see how it works. But I've got over 100 batches on this frame now, so it don't look like it did when it was in BYO. It's still pretty because it's stainless, but there's a wort spot here or there that I forgot to clean up last brew, but that's okay. We're brewers. So yeah, check in a minute. Alright, let's do it again. Alright, so I'm all doughed in here. Got my 13 pounds of malt in the mash here. So, man, that's a small beer. I don't know if I've ever done a beer this small in Brutus Ten. I think I have, but Jamel's recipe called for a strike temp of 149, so I'm hovering 149, 150. It's bouncing back and forth. It's good enough for beer. And I utilize the analog, I like to call it, the dial thermometers, a lot on Brutus Ten. That's why they're there. People wonder why I have two. I've got the digital and the analog. This little bad boy right here they're pretty important. So, and I'll show you why later. But other than that, I'm all doughed in. I'm going to set up some hoses here, and this is going to be little short in and out clips. So strike water just fired off, and it shut itself off before I turn this camera on, so it's back up to 176. And my mash is holding 149. I'm going to do that for 1 hour. Or thereabouts. That'll work. So, catch you on the flip side. Alright, another installment. Get this camera charged up. Okay, so I still got quite a while, only 10 minutes has elapsed or so almost. So what I did now, while the mash is still holding perfectly at 149, go ahead and take some time to get this thing set up for my next step, which obviously is going to be the sparge and the mash out. I like to mash out. I don't think it makes a big difference, especially on a beer small on our scale. But it's fun to do and it's easy to do. But what I got here, the HLT is holding good, 174 or 175. I went ahead and connected my hoses from the outlet to the inlet of the pump, outlet of the pump, back to the lid. And as you know about Brutus, I put everything in the lids. And man, it makes life so much easier. And I've got a whirligig in here. So yeah, I'm an old-time fly sparger. I'll never change my ways. So if anything, I just love listening to that thing whirligig around. So I did the same thing on the mash tun. Outlet of the mash by way of my temperature T here. And I get a lot of questions on this. This little T right here. Take it off here while I hold the camera. Just got a couple QDs on it, but it's basically a stainless steel T with a very short thermal well I got for more beer in it, already pre-welded. The little thermal well only goes about 2.5 inches into that. So this little T is the handiest thing because you can use it on any pot. And I think it's important to measure the outlet temperature. Since the burner's right there and we got a false bottom in here with 1.5 inches of dead space, we want to measure that temperature coming out during mash out. So that T's pretty easy to make. Just some fittings at Home Depot or Lowe's and a nice T, be whatever you want, brass. And then go to More Beer and get this nice little thermocouple they have. Thermal well, I'm sorry. And we'll use that later. But the same thing, coming out of the mash, into the pump, out of the pump, back to the top. And I've just got a little copper tube in here to return the work. Kind of returns it on the side so it kind of swirls around a little bit. And I only use that for mashing out. I don't sparge with that. And I'll show you that a little bit later. The glory of having these fittings in the lids.